Hi, this video is for parents of students who have chosen to play the violin or the viola. These instruments are made of wood and they change, their tuning changes with temperature. Say you've left your instrument in the car and it got cold, or in a hot car, and sometimes actually the instruments drop and this changes the pitch, and then the students won't be able to play. The music won't sound quite the same to them as it did in their lessons. Every time they come to a lesson, I tune their instrument, but if a parent can also help their student by tuning the instrument at home for them, it'll be much easier for them to practice during the week. So we're going to have a little lesson on tuning, and I also want to just show you a little bit about maintenance of the instrument and also kind of a few repairs you can do on your own. So let's get started.
Here are some of the parts of the violin that we'll be talking about in this video. The strings are wound through pegs in the peg box, or stretched across the bridge, and then attached at the tailpiece, where you can adjust them with fine tuners. And now a few parts of the bow. Do you notice the upward curve in the bow? It's very subtle, but that curve should be there even when the hair is tight, so make sure the bow isn't over-tightened.
First, a little bit about instrument, just everyday care. Your student was given a bow, and every time they're going to play, they want to tighten this screw to make the hair tighter. Now, right now, I have tightened hair on the bow, and I tell the students just this narrowest part. If they can put a pencil in there, then it's tight enough to play. And you can see that the it'll be farther away from the stick here, and also at this end farther away, but it bows in the middle. It's kind of got a upward curve, a little bit like a smile. So we always want to keep this upward curve. If the bow is too tight, it bows the other way, and I always tell the students there, we're not, it's not for a bow and arrow. So you tighten it just till it's to this point, and then they'll want to rosin the bow. And with your rental instrument, you're probably given a cake of rosin, and I tell the students 10 times back and forth. And then when you're done playing, you want to loosen, and it's just lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So just loosen it about 5 or 6 turns, and you can see how much looser my hair is now. It doesn't need to be dangling hairs. So that is care of the bow. Now, because of using the rosin, the instrument will get a little bit of rosin buildup on the strings and sometimes even on the wood. So I just have them use a soft cloth and wipe it off after they finish playing. You don't want a great deal of rosin buildup. You may also have bought an instrument care kit, and that would include polish, which they don't really need to use, but some kids really like to keep their instruments nice and clean. And if you use that, just keep the polish away from the strings. It's only for the wood part of the instrument.
In order to tune your violin, you're going to need to have a chromatic tuner. This is a chromatic tuner that was purchased at a store, and I have links to several stores on my website. Or you can, if you have a smartphone, you can just download an app. There's apps available for Android and for iPhones, and both of these apps were free.
Now I'd like to show you how to tune the instrument. This works the same for violin or viola, and you don't need to know how to play with the bow in order to tune. All you have to do is pluck the strings. So get a hold of the fine tuner or the chromatic tuner that I had showed you previously, and this is just a model that I bought at a music store. You can also use the application on a smartphone for this same thing. And we're going to assume that the instrument is pretty close to being in tune. And in that case, what we can use to tune it are these fine tuners, which they're called fine tuners because they only change the pitch a tiny little bit. And these are just handy to use on a daily basis. So you take your tuner, and there are indicators. The middle, the green, means the note is in tune. And then if this little sign that looks like sort of like a little B means flat, and that means that the note is a little bit too low. And if it's on this side, the sharp sign or the number sign, that also means that it's a little bit higher than it should be. So you just pluck the A, and always start with the A. It's a good habit to get into because that's the way orchestras tune. So pluck the A, and you can see it's in the red, and it's a little bit lower than that note needs to be. So you adjust your fine tuner, and it just works the same way as any screw. It's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So you turn it just a little bit clockwise to the right, and then check again, and it's getting a little bit closer to the green. We're just going to turn it a little bit more, and it's just a little bit more in the red. There we go. It's still showing a little bit red, isn't it? That's good. So, and you can see actually that this changes even with me talking. So it responds to any note that you hear. So this will work on the D string, and it'll tune it to a D, and then the G, and you can see my G is off, and then the A, and this also of course works with the C string. So you can tune all the strings that way just by plucking. Now let's say that the instrument took a spill, or was in a cold car for quite a while, and they really react to the temperature change. So I'm tuning my A down just for demonstration, but now this is quite a bit lower than it should be. So if you can tell that the string is really far off, so check your fine tuner and see, it'll actually give you a letter name and say what that is, and then you'll know you need to go higher. So to change the tuning using the pegs, hold on tightly to the instrument, and I want you to be able to, you don't want to hold the peg box and turn while holding the instrument down here. This neck actually comes off, and you can snap the neck right off. So I want you to hold on to the neck, and I also kind of keep a finger here by the peg box. And then with the other hand, you want to turn the peg, and you can hear this one is kind of tight, but as I turn, I push in, so I'm using pressure both directions to turn this peg. And then you just stop and turn, and you can have your tuner next to you and kind of see if you're getting closer, and you just keep turning, and it's getting a lot closer now. So then I can just check it then with the fine tuner to finish up the tuning. I can use the fine tuners with the chromatic tuner and make sure the instrument's in tune. Now I also wanted to show you what you can do if the bridge falls down. If in a drop, or like bumping, even if an instrument is dropped sometimes in the case, the bridge can fall out. Now I've just loosened all my pegs so I can show you that if the pegs are loose, it can come right out. So it just sets right on top of the instrument, and because this instrument is a little worn, you can see the place where see this, it's right across from the F holes. These are the F holes, and there's a little notch in them, and you'll see that the bridge can fit in right there. And this bridge has a lower side and a higher side. And the higher side goes on the G string side of the instrument. And if you're a violist, it would go on the C string side. So with these pegs loosened, I actually need to loosen them a little bit more. You point the bridge towards the tailpiece, and just kind of in line with where you can see where the feet of the bridge stood. And let me also show you this. So then there's notches here along the bridge. And you just fit the strings into the notches, line it up with where it was. Some strings have, you see this is just to protect the E string, so slide that right on top of the bridge. If you don't secure it with a string and tighten the string, then it'll rattle when your child plays, and that can be annoying. And now, then you just tighten the pegs. And as you tighten the pegs, the bridge will start to stretch this way up towards. So you just secure it. I'm going to hold you, show you this. When I am adjusting a bridge, I would hold on to the bouts of the instrument, and then pull it towards you so that the feet are flat on the surface of the violin. So these are just a few of the things that you can do to take care of your child's instrument at home. Tuning is easy to do, and the regular maintenance is easy to do. There are certain things that are better left to a professional. A great deal of damage, some parts of the instrument can fall off. Now if it's just a string breaking, then I can easily take care of that for you in the studio. You can also take it to the shop to take care of that too. But I hope that this has been helpful and that you will be able to tune your child's instrument now every day. Thanks so much for watching, and happy playing.